There's a heron over there. I thought it was like an egret or something. Is he going to take off? Is he going to take off? Come on, heron. Oh, I missed him. You probably can't hear me because I've got the AC on maximum and because there's other cars parked around me. Well, I guess there's no one in that one. Alright, maybe I can turn the AC down a bit and open a window. I'm having some fucking annoying, stressful problems with co-workers lately. Two in particular. Most of them in one way or another. Doesn't help that my mum's going away for a weekend starting from today, and so my brothers are acting up because for some reason they do when she goes away. Just messing around. I'll take a picture of these clouds, but you're filming me, so I've got to use a different camera for it. It's a heat wave. It is the solstice, summer solstice, 21st of June. It is the longest day. I should be camping or something, but I've got a long night shift tonight with a staff member I don't like, and then go home for no real reason, and then come back like 6 a.m. the following morning. So there's like not much point in driving home because you finish at like 10 p.m. you get home like 11:30. You got a tiny window to eat a bit of food, watch something, go to sleep for not a real sleep that is like 4 hours long, and then get up again. It's terrible. I hate when they do that. Rota fucking... Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's one gripe I have. Rota kind of work is terrible compared to 9 to 5, which is fine. I like night shifts. You don't really get them on a 9 to 5 because you always finish at 5. But rota based shift work is bullshit. I'd rather have static night shifts where I know the start time, I know the finish time, and it's, you know what it's going to be every week. It's not just like some random person just jumbles everything around. They just come up with a new like pattern of who's in and who's out each week. It's not, well, I have no idea what they're doing. They're just playing control games with people, I think. Just messing them around. There's no need for it to jump around like that. You know, there'd be need if there was an actual holiday, but they do it when no one's on holiday. They will just have like all sorts of different shifts in all sorts of weird ways, and it will change completely the next week. It doesn't make any sense. One co-worker who was like my friend to begin with when I started work last year, like the one who talked to me and everything. Yeah, it's getting very difficult recently. His sense of humour is just not my sense of humour. He's like the kind of practical jokist kind of sense of humour. He thinks it's funny like every time you give him a question, not to answer it and just give you the death stare, like lock eyes on you and just stare at you for like a full minute instead of answering you, and then he'll answer you like a bit later maybe if he's feeling charitable, or he won't answer you at all. This is a pain in the ass when you're trying to work with someone and do things because you ask them a question to find out something and you can't find it out. So you just, I mean, that slows down your work for a start based on some shit joke that isn't actually funny to me. It's not my sense of humour. Maybe it's funny to someone. Maybe it's funny to someone. I guess it's funny to someone. It is a joke, it is comedy, it's just not mine. I don't fucking get what's happening. Like, my humour is like based on words and nonsense humour and memes and satire and things like that, and his is like practical jokery, like normie shit, pub like humour, whatever that is. So yeah, it's been a bit unbearable the last few shifts with him. So I bought him a gift to cheer him up as well, and he was an ungrateful sod about it. Wasted that money then, I'm not going to do that again. You can buy me something and I'll just not actually buy him a gift in return. I'll just go, oh, you bought me something, cool. Taking that money to compensate me for the fuck-uppery of you not giving a shit when I bought you a gift. So aside from him, there's a newer worker who I guess I get along with the most at the moment. He hasn't exposed his dark side yet. And then the other workers are just like pretty much full on, I don't like them and they don't like me sort of thing. Because they started last year, like when I started work last year with them, they just didn't talk to me from the get-go. They didn't want to talk to me, they just chose not to talk to me based on, I guess, my looks, because they had nothing else to go on. They didn't know anything about me. White male, looks like this, not going to talk to him. Not going to find out his deal. Not going to tell him about my deal. And they just kept that up through the whole thing, so. Any kind of stress and tension that boils up is basically their fault, really, because they could have allayed that from day one, but they didn't. God, these clouds, these hot day clouds are something very different. They're doing all sorts of weird, hazy, nuclear bombish things. And then there's this other co-worker who is basically pretty much never on shift with me, except like in the mornings where I do a delivery, she's in the background on the tills for like 20 minutes or something. I don't think I've been on a shift with her for like an hour before, but she does all the rotors. She works with the boss to do all these stupid fucking rotor things. We have a worker called Karen who's like, I guess she's decided she's my nemesis, but this her name is Karen and she's like the stereotype of a Karen, you know, that type of person. But this other girl who does the rotors, who I haven't worked with much on shift, she's just as much of Karen as the person called Karen. They're both just like each other. They'll both get in the FB group chat for the business and like team up together and hate on everyone else, like try and boss everyone around. Basically they own the group. They think they own the group, because if you just talk normally, you can't talk normally there. If you say anything normally, they'll just get triggered and go full SJW on you. So and the group chat's meant to be for you to ask work related questions, and you can't. You just can't, because they'll have a go at you, discourage you from using the group. I'm just like debating with her, because there's been a road closure on my main road to get into work. There's going to be a road closure at the end of the month for 2 nights, and I'm informing them of this on this group chat where you're meant to talk about things like this, and she's just having a tantrum, throwing a wobbly, being triggered, being offended like an SJW. She doesn't understand driving and she doesn't understand geography, so I'm saying this, look, this is my one route from where my home is to my workplace up north, and she's like, no, there must be other routes, there must be other routes you can go. I'm like, well, there's one other route that is viable, that is like plus 2 hours or more journey time, that I've never done in the dark, that goes out into a whole other county from where I live. And I have to go out into that county, around a bunch of, a part of it is like small B roads, which you don't really want to do in the dark. You want to keep to A roads if possible in the dark. And yeah, I finish work, finish a night shift late, and it takes me normally an hour to get home. So taking this alternate route because of a road closure would not only be dangerous, but add like 2 hours plus onto my journey. I'd probably end up getting home like at the dead of night. I don't want to do that, so I said, please can you find me some shifts that end before 7 PM, because the road closes at 7 PM and then it's closed all night long on these days. And she's like, oh, going off in a huff about like, oh no, the rota's set now, oh no, we can't really change the rota, but if you want to do a Tuesday, then I can do that, change the rota. I'm like, oh, you could swap with someone else, but I'm like, what am I swapping with someone else, because she hasn't even given me the rota for the next week, so I can't see it, so I don't know what it is. She's like, I got you down working shifts already, so I'm like, yeah, but I can't get home from work, so I can't go to the shift. She's like, I don't understand, you have to be able to take an alternate route. It's legally they got to provide an alternate route. Like, you can say legally about anything, but that doesn't change the geography of where the road is on the ground. There's like this road that goes from south of where I live, past where I live, up north to where I work, and that's the one that they're going to close off a section of in the middle. And then to the right of me there's the big mountainous area with no roads, except one road that would take like 4 hours to do a big fuck off circuit to get through all this dangerous driving between animals down country lanes through to the other side of the county basically, and then you have to go up around it to the north, go around the mountains to the north, and then get to work that way. It's just not viable at all. And then there's the other route that takes you off into another county. And she doesn't understand, like, well, there must be other routes, why can't you take all these little tiny roads? And like, no, you can't drive little small B roads, or what's smaller than a B road, a C road? You can't drive these narrow country lanes at night. Firstly, it slows down your journey massively. And secondly, if a tractor comes down, then in the dark you've got to reverse for 2 miles to try and let the tractor through. Because there's no bays. There's nowhere for you to pull in, so you're stuck on these narrow roads. And she's like, oh, this must be a way for you to get to work. It's not a way to get to work, because you just get trapped, you just get stuck, your journey time just gets astronomical, it's dangerous. She doesn't drive, so she doesn't know, and she doesn't know these routes, and I know all these roads here. I've driven like down pretty much all the roads in this place, so I know them almost like the back of my hand, and she doesn't. And she's like trying to put all this on me, like, oh, there must be another way. No, you should just drive one of the other routes. There's got to be another route. I know all the other routes. There's not another route. Just having bullshit arguments with an authoritarian, triggered loon woman. I'm getting loads of flack from fucking idiot middle-aged women recently, which is how you bump into a lot of blue-pilled normies and SJWs, is in that kind of demographic bracket, shall we say. Dealing with them is insane, and they're probably feminists. The way they act is very feminist. They think they should play the victim the whole time. They think nobody, like, they think it's absolutely fine to demonise you for speech. They apply double standards to men versus women, all that horrible feminist shit. So yeah, dealing with that at the moment is stressful, and one of the other co-workers sometimes doesn't talk but sometimes does talk, and she's a bit nicer when she does talk, but she's like dating one of the other co-workers, so they're in cahoots with each other, so you can't really have a normal conversation with them. So this is a life update bullshit thing. I'm just thinking, like, I could leave the job and find another job, but I think I would accidentally. I mean, there are so many SJWs. Just, I don't think my dad understands the work market. He's like, oh, you should just get another job and make it full time or something. No, it was a miracle that I got this job, and you can try different jobs, but a lot of different places will all treat me the same because they're SJWs. There's a lot of far left takeover in the workforce. Just bumped into lots of these businesses, and some of them are more communist than others. They've all got like lots of, like, you don't want to get into a business that is even more commie than the one I'm in now, which has a certain degree of communism in it anyway. Like, you can't get away from it. Any job has these socialist goons in them creating these bullshit rules against speech and behaviour, which is authoritarian and awful. I'm just worried that, like, if I did give this up and try for another job, I would get one that was more communist than the one I'm in. So they'd have like hate speech rules, and they'd like openly be promoting far left ideology and stuff. I'm very worried about, if I left this job, I'd be mainly worried about not being able to get another job, because this one was very difficult to get, and my dad doesn't understand that it wasn't easy to get this one. Hell, I had to even learn to drive a car and pay the money for the car and pay the money for the fuel and stuff just to get them to accept me into this job. Initially, that was the only reason I got a car, was that a lot of employers just have bullshit rules where even if you know you can get to the job to work for them, they will not accept you. Like, if you got there via buses, or if you got there via walking or something, they would still not accept you unless you could drive to work. So Max said, oh, this happens a lot, maybe you should get a car, and then more of them will accept you. So I went through that whole thing a year out of my time, and I've got this thing now, which has been quite good in a few different ways, and bad in quite a few other ways. Maybe I should do a video on that, how it's good having a car and how it's bad having a car, because there's a lot of bad things about moving from someone who just gets buses and trains everywhere to someone who gets a car. You lose a bunch of things from doing that I don't think people understand. I probably tangent hopped back there. I tangent hopped from one thing to another, and I lost the string. I lost the thread. Yeah, I'm very worried. I don't want to put down this job and not be able to get a job, or put down this job and need to pay for some other shit that I can't afford in order to take a new job. Or I don't want to put down this job and get a job that is very likely a lot worse than this job. Extreme authoritarian rules and stuff, which would make me rage quit very fast, and then be stuck with no money and needing to find another workplace straight after that. I can't travel and get work because all my stuff is here in this domestic abuse situation. I can't get my possessions out of my house and into a flat, and then estate agents is a whole other fucking stupid obstacle. Like, I have the money for the flat, I've had the money for a flat for ages, but you go to an estate agent and say, can you rent this flat? They go, no, you need like 10 times the money you have in your bank account to get this flat that you can already pay for. Because of like minority reports or stuff, like pre-crime, like what if something were to happen? Like, well, it hasn't happened. Yeah, but what if it was going to happen in the future? Like, yeah, but it hasn't happened. You're like making rules based on things that could happen, that haven't happened, that likely won't happen, and they're like blocking you off from renting a flat. And they're especially doing it to English people who live in this country. So I don't know like how far my voice carries. Like, when I was a teen, I think I talked a lot more openly, being aware that I was a quiet kind of person, thinking my voice doesn't carry that far, therefore no one will hear that much of what I say, and no one will notice me and do their stupid SJW thing of taking offense at what I say. Whereas I think I got to a stage in my mid-adult years, let's say 10 years ago or something, maybe a little more than 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, where I noticed that my voice, the voice carries, sound carries in really unexpected ways. My GoPro's probably going to overheat, I think. Yeah, it is. Let's finish up soon. Your voice carries in really unexpected ways, so it can carry on the wind, it can carry due to different surfaces and angles of solid things around you, it can carry out in the open. You can be heard whispering, maybe not whispering, but slightly above a whisper. You can be heard miles off if the conditions are right. You can be heard having what you think is a quiet conversation. You can be heard way down the street, further than you think. Like, someone could be listening to you. Is that a heron? Another heron? Maybe. Someone could be listening to you by a lamppost all the way down the street. Like, what would you say? 500 yards away? Further than that? Quarter of a mile away. They could be hearing you have a conversation with your friend. Like, that far away in certain circumstances. And that once I realised that my voice carries more than I thought, it added to my paranoia. I think it added to my social anxiety, and even though I was a quiet speaker, I spoke even more quietly, I think, after that point, and I really watch where I'm having my conversations, because we live in this authoritarian socialist hellhole, and you know what it was like living under Soviet times, where they just got your neighbours to spy on you, got your own children to spy on you. Like, teachers at school would indoctrinate their children to spy on their parents to see if they're saying anything against the state or the government, and then that's how they'd get arrested. 1984 stuff, completely based on real life. And yeah, that's That's horrible culture. That's horrible Soviet and socialist culture that you live under. The kind of anti-speech, snitch culture, hate speech, like arrest you for jokes and mild criticism of the government, sort of stuff, and breed an army of blue-pilled normie statists who'll help do that job for you, be the neighbour who snitches on you to the government or the police for saying naughty words. Whatever the fuck that means. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up. Mixed update life vlog. GoPro's probably gonna get too hot because it's the hottest day and the longest day of the year. Catch you later, folks. Thank you for watching.